Hey YouTube, After Crush back with you once again. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start a new series on the channel. Pretty much, I have been thinking about doing a series about my kind of journey through trying to lose weight and get better in shape and get fit. So, this is going to be part one. This is pretty much just going to be the backstory, I think. So my current state right now is 320 pounds. And of course, everyone's like, well, how did you get that way? Here's how. I'd always been a chunky kid growing up. Growing up, and unfortunately, we didn't have a lot. So the diet that I was on really wasn't the largest concern for my parents. Pretty much it was just have a meal. There's a lot of times when we were growing up, we were really skating by, and sometimes the Chef Boyardee and the can, you're lucky if you got that some nights. And it got better as things kind of progressed as I was growing up, but we didn't really kind of break that. Always pizza. Things like that. Just we didn't worry much about the whole diet thing. I guess we all just kind of assumed I'd grow out of it. Well, up until I think it was about 14 or 15 years old, parents finally took me to a doctor and for a physical. And the doctor looks at me and says, I think it was about 250. Back in, I think it was around middle school, early high school. Doctor looks at me and says, well, at your current rate, you won't make it past 22. You will die by the time you're 22. High blood pressure, hypertension, and just really unhealthy, to be honest. Matter of fact, I think I still have some of the photos from when I was younger. I always keep them on me just as a reminder of what you could be and what you strive not to be. You see, I think I still have them. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. Here is 94, 95. So put that there. 94, 95. See that? 93, 94. Banner year for me looking chunky. As I got older and I kind of started to take the doctor seriously, I started to kind of tighten up a little bit. Not as much as I really should have. Main thing was I walked a lot more. I walked all over town. I walked as much as I could. And sometimes a couple miles a day, which to most people is nothing, but to a 250-pound kid, it's everything. That was also my just time I could pop on headphones and just go. So 96, 97. Let's see. There's 96, 97. I'm not sure if you can see that very well. 97, 98. Look at that. Then you got 98, 99, and my senior picture, which that's a year's difference right there. You see the kind of shape of my face start to take a little bit. But around that time, I wasn't interested in getting a driver's license. I was just more focused on other things, and I was perfectly fine walking anywhere I needed to go, including work at that time. So my eating habits had not changed. It was still eat whatever you can, and no, that wasn't my strong suit, so to speak. So you get into my 18, 19 years old. I start working at a factory. I do other things, and I get into the habit of sucking down, energy drinks and pop. Now, at that time, I had a lot of free money, so it was like, oh, I can splurge, I can go out to eat, I can, get whatever I want to drink. It wasn't as limited as I felt I had been. And of course, you leave somebody with no limit, they're going to overdo it. So I'd be eating out of McDonald's all the time, Burger King. For a while there, I ate at Burger King exclusively, and really wasn't healthy. Everything that I was doing better as a result of walking and trying to take one road, I was kind of walking back down the road with my eating habits. It was just really counterproductive, I guess would be the best word to say. And then I met a friend of mine. His name is Jay. Probably one of the biggest influences on me wanting to work out, because at that time, in the early 2000s, I was interested in becoming a wrestler. I wanted to at least, I was like, if I at least try out to become a wrestler, and if I fail, I fail. At least I say I put forth the effort. Through another friend of mine, got to meet my friend Jay, and he's like, you know what? We're gonna do what we can. We're gonna get you in shape. So we start working out, and he had a couple strict rules. He's like, no sugar drinks when you come to work out, no pop when you come to work out. You basically bring water, or you bring something like a Gatorade. He's like, you know what? Even Gatorade you probably shouldn't allow, but it's better than bringing a 2-liter Mountain Dew. Now, mind you, at this time also, when I wasn't working out with him and my other friend, I was working a 3rd shift job, so I was trying to maintain a regular workout schedule during the week, along with pumping out 8 hours a night. So, unfortunately, we didn't actually talk about nutrition or whatnot. We were more or less, I kind of brushed it off. So I was still eating out all the time. I was still doing whatever, but I was working out. I was walking, and I was working full time at night. And unfortunately, along with that comes the energy drinks. On a really good night, I would be able, in a 24-hour period, mind you, to kill a 24-pack of pop, 2-liter of pop, at least 2 energy drinks, a couple of bottles of water if I decided to even drink water at all, and probably a couple extra 12-ounce cans towards the tail end of my night. So, this was regularly. I was probably dropping $20-30 a week on nothing but drinks. So unfortunately, I had gone through this kind of vicious cycle over a period of years, just abusing, unfortunately, my body to a very, very extreme point. At least what I feel is extreme point. And I fell out of wrestling. I tried out once and I failed, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. And unfortunately, my friend Jay ended up moving away. So what type of stability that my friend Jay had given me, and he worked really hard, and he was really adamant about trying to help me out and trying to inform me and try to teach me. And about for the first month or so, I was all gung ho. it's like protein bars, and we'll follow it, and then it fell right back into it. Even though I had the want to do better, I didn't have the will to do better. And I didn't understand that at the time. I was just like, okay, well, whatever. And it just continued on and on and on. And then I met my wife. And the eating habits started to change a little bit because we were actually planning for meals. We were married. It was no longer going out to eat all the time. And we were still getting regular meals and a little bit better at a little bit of nutrition, but it still wasn't something that I was terribly concerned about. And I was sitting at, what was it? Oh my goodness. I think it was sitting at the job I was working at. I think I was doing a sit-down job at the time. Yeah, working at a call center. And I looked down and I saw stomach. I saw my posture. I was kind of slunched over towards the computer screen, a lot like this, just not having. It just felt like I had lost respect for myself at some certain point in my life. After doing so much and keeping myself in a little bit better shape, now I had a driver's license by that time and drove everywhere, and it went from driving up and down the road to just making a U-turn and just skidding back. So I made a decision. I said, you know what? We will do better. Now we have to generate the will to do better. And that was 2013 now, and I believe the first time I decided to make a real change was around late 2009, 2010, I believe. I was also going to school, so I was 3 days a week of the 9 weeks I was in school going to the college gym, and I lost like 2 pant sizes, and it's fantastic. And then I left school, and unfortunately I didn't have a gym to go to for a little while. But I had always maintained somehow trying to get to a gym or getting in some sort of workout, doing something. I still wasn't doing the best on my nutrition. I was doing better. I was trying to drop as much profit as possible, and my wife was helping me out with that. And it's a progression. I've always kind of maintained over the course of my life that changes aren't immediate. You have to just kind of work towards it. Because if you want immediate change, it's going to fall off at a later point. At least that's my mentality now. So, back to the story. Going through and working out, doing a little bit better, I decided to go to the Arnold Fitness Classic. And mind blown. It was an entire new world. As a matter of fact, it was the 2010 Arnold Classic, I believe. Out of that of the 2009, I think. But I walked in and just options everywhere. As a matter of fact, there's a really chintzy, like, 3-minute video I have on the page. Just go back and take a look at it. Just this wide-eyed optimism in my eyes, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing the buff dudes, I'm seeing the buff chicks, and all of a sudden things start actually coming into focus as far as nutrition goes, as far as supplementation goes into your diet. And it started actually kind of clicking in my brain that, okay, this isn't as hard as it seems. This isn't as out of your reach as you make it out to be. Because at that time I was still pushing around 300 pounds. I still am now, of course, being 320, but I was really just a rotund at that point. So I decided, like, you know what, I'm going to get as much as I can, sample as much as I can, do as much as I can to educate myself and start to work out more and start to look into nutrition, not as much as like caloric content, but things to eliminate, things to push to the side to not eat anymore. I mean, I was living on my own for about a year before I got married to my wife, and I was living on Spam. And have you ever looked at the back of the can of a Spam? It's like, it's just like solid grease, and it never clicked in my head how disgusting that was until I took a look, and I was picking up Spam to put into the cart, and I turned the can over, and it popped out of my brain. It's like, what am I doing eating this? There are things even now that, like, even my wife wants to make meatloaf. I'm like, do you realize how much it sits in the grease in the pan? 10 years ago, would have never thought. And now, things like that, I can't do it. Because things start to just fall into place in your brain, and your habits that you're attempting to make just makes all the difference. So, at that time, I really wanted to just get better. I really wanted to kind of push forward and try to learn and learn and learn and learn, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm still learning. There are newer supplements out there, better ways of looking at nutrition. I try to buy the most recent issue of Flex, and I will reread it months down the line. I can read and reread an issue of Flex in a week and still find new things I might have glossed over. I love how people always say, well, you don't want to look like those guys on the cover. They're all juiced up steroid freaks. And I'm like, well, number one, a lot of them aren't because they have drug testing and bodybuilding, and number two, I don't necessarily want to look like that. I want to be healthy. The first person I actually wanted to look like, because every guy has that, and girl too. Every person looks at somebody and says, I want to look like that. I want to be a physical, I want to look better. And first person I wanted to be like was Triple H. Because that dude is jacked. Always has been, for the most part, and probably always will be. And I bought the book, Making the Game. I'm actually on my second copy because I loaned it to a friend of mine, never got it back, and I was so adamant about following that book and reading it over and over and over again. I bought a second copy. I was like, I don't even care. I'm keeping that book somehow. So I'm now to the point where I have a fairly steady nutrition regimen. I still drink a good amount of pop. I drink about a couple cans a week. I see on average about 8 cans, 12-ounce cans a week, maybe a 1 liter, 1.5 liter. And I'm even trying to curb that even more, because I consider myself lucky that I don't have kidney stones at my age. Being the fact that I probably kept Mountain Dew in business for about a good year and a half. It was just horrible. And now I don't feel so horrible. And now, even right now, sitting here with a jacked up leg from tearing my hamstring with a minor tear, I still feel better than I have in my entire life. Even when I was walking around when I was younger, and I just kept walking, and I looked better, but I wasn't better. Now, even though I'm still big and I'm still over 300 pounds, well, when this leg is 100% healed, which I'm going to give it out a test this week, first time in about a month, I'm going to give this leg a good test, and we're going to get back on the cardio. We're going to make that progression start again, because no matter how many times you start, no matter how many times you stop, just make sure you start more times than you stop. One thing that I've always lived by is, and this is only really in the past couple years I actually took this personal quote to heart, is that I came up with a quote for a clothing company that I was going to start up that kind of never materialized, but the quote is still the same. There is no success without sacrifice. Whether it's sacrificing time of your day to go to the gym, whether it's sacrificing that extra milkshake when you go to McDonald's, whether it's sacrificing, the 12 packs of Mountain Dew or Coke, anything that you're on right now, sacrificing, the Red Bull that you drink every morning to get you in the day, that sacrifice will push you towards a success if you want it to. And I guess the reason why I'm doing this video that's pushing 20 minutes now is something that I can write on my blogger all I want, but to be able to say it and really express it is a good starting point for me. Because for every one person like me who's probably could have seen, kidney dialysis by the time they're 30, like I possibly could have, just kind of drinking out my 4 kidneys of pop, there's probably another 10, 20 people who already are. No, just I best I could tell people in this to start off is, make a starting point. That's kind of what this is for me, and I hope to be uploading about once a month with a little bit more progress, a little bit more insight to why I do what it is I do and the types of workouts I do. And I just really hope to be able to educate people about being a big person, being a big fat dude, and not looking at yourself like a fat guy. Because I looked in the mirror at the gym the other day and I didn't see some random fat guy in the gym. I saw an athlete in the mirror, and I put up on my things on my Facebook, when you start looking in the mirror and seeing an athlete, that's when you have to start acting like one. And using my experience, I think I can help at least one person out there. And if just one person, comments and says, "Thank you for the words. I've never attempted to work out or try to change my life before, but this inspired me," I've done my job. So, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna stop rambling now. So, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you want to take a look back at some of my other videos, I do have some supplement reviews and a couple other things bodybuilding related. Just go ahead, hit on back to some of my older videos. Follow me on Twitter at Aphrodite's Crush, and also the newer handle that I've done specifically for bodybuilding at FatFreak, at FATPHREAK. So, also hit up my blogger as well, or my blog spot, whatever they're calling it now. Just look up Aphrodite's Crush, you'll find me. So, but peace out, everybody. You all have a good one.